winning a scholarship, 50 grand, cool. Telling my parents that they didn't have to worry about me, and I can kind of do this stuff on my own. It's kind of like big 2 tips for training for y'all.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, all right, we'll kick off there. So let's give Eddie a round of applause. And we are big on recognition here, so we give a round of applause just for introducing yourself. Isn't that cool? So what we'll go ahead and do is we'll kick things off. Let me see if I'm good to go. Okay. So I want to go ahead and again formally introduce myself. Like I said, my name is Andrew Evans. I'm the district manager here, which is just like a fancy word for saying I'm the owner of the office. I started off with the company back when I was a junior in high school. So this is like my first real position. I'd never done pretty much anything professional in the past. Previously, I had worked as, I owned my own landscaping company, which is like a fancy way of saying I mowed people's yards. I did magic at restaurants when I was in middle school to make some extra money. Weird. And then I coached gymnastics for a couple of years. So like I said, this is my first like real professional position. That first summer, sold about $20,000, so really nothing too special. But I really liked the job at the time for like the flexibility aspect of it, because for me, I was doing full-time training that summer for wrestling for states, and then I also had a bunch of mission trips and vacations. So you got a crazy schedule this summer. I can definitely relate. After that summer, I finished up my senior year in high school. I graduated. I started off in the Palm Beach office. I'm originally from Jupiter, Florida, for those of you guys that know where that is. After graduating from high school, I became an assistant manager in Fort Lauderdale, and then I went up over to FSU. So Cutco kind of helped me pay my way through FSU. That was like a big thing for me when I started working, was being able to tell my mom and dad like, hey, don't worry about it, I got it covered. Kind of similar to Eddie. So that was a cool aspect for me when I first started the job. After that, I eventually became a branch manager. So I opened and ran my own office in Boca Raton, and then ran 2 different offices in Miami, which is the same years that we, were the #1 office and broke the all-time record. So with that said, my personal sales are just under like 70, 80,000. My career sales are just under $2 million. And I don't say that to like impress you, but rather just to impress upon you all that you're going to receive a really stellar training this weekend. I know some from personally selling a lot of Cutco myself, as well as training hundreds, probably thousands at this point, of other sales representatives, kind of how to be successful, what works and what doesn't work. So with that said, today we start at 12 o'clock. We're here. Did Eddie tell you guys get out at 8:30 or 9:30? 7:30. Okay, cool. Just making sure you guys are paying attention. All right. By the way, I train for success, not for time, right? So like, if you guys are engaged, if we're getting through this stuff faster, I probably like getting out of here just as early as just as much as you all do. Okay. So with that said, so be engaged at the training tomorrow. We start at what time? Okay. 10:30, right? And we are here till what time? 5:30. Cool. But if you want to come at 10, go for it, right? So 5:30. Now training, the first 2 days are a little bit longer. We actually squeeze it. Used to be like 3 whole days. We squeeze it into a tight pack. So we'll fly through some of this stuff. And then after your first kind of initial training lasts 10 days on the job. So after that initial training this weekend, you'll have 2 short advanced trainings spaced out your first week on the job. And then after that, we only see you twice a week. So once a week for a weekly team meeting, which is a time where everyone looks forward to getting together. So recognition, announcements, additional learning. And then once a week on check meeting. So we'll go over like your schedule for the week, look at analysis, and go over all that good stuff. So if you're nervous, I know exactly how you feel. It's normal to be nervous, or at least have some levels of hesitancy or apprehension anytime you're starting something new. All I do is I promise that as training progresses, any feelings of nervousness or hesitancy that you might have, they'll subside and they'll be replaced with confidence. By the end of the day tomorrow, you'd be like, Andrew, screw the rest of the training, give me the day of knives, I'm ready to go out and sell. Probably by the end of today, honestly. By the end of the day tomorrow, you'll be burning rubber out of the parking lot to get to your first few training appointments. So, 10% of people come in here, they're freaking out. If that's you, don't worry. That's, really a lot more normal than you think. Like I said, you'll have a lot more confidence as training progresses. 80%, most people come in here, they're like confident in themselves, confident in the program. They just need to learn like how the heck the job actually works, right? And what the heck, how everything works. 10% of people here are on the opposite end of the spectrum. They walk in, they know they're already going to crush the job. If that's you, a little weird, haven't taught you anything yet, but more power to you. Usually they have had a friend that does, has done really well here or whatnot. So what I want to go ahead and do is I want to give you quickly introduce you to some of our staff. We have on the board. Name that you guys is it says DVM. That's our divisional manager, Jeff Gamboa. Okay, Jeff Gamboa. So Jeff Gamboa started with the company back in 1997 as a student in Baltimore, Maryland. His first summer on the job, he sold over $75,000, which, by the way, is the equivalent of selling almost $110,000 your first summer today. And that was his first summer on the job. He was the #1 rep in all of Vector. So he sold more Cutco that summer than anyone did across the country. He was a pre-med student. His dad was a pretty prominent doctor in the Baltimore area. After graduating or getting to his final year of college, when he graduated college, he had a lot of different options. He had ran a branch office previously with Cutco, so he applied to 5 different med schools, got into every single one he applied to. Applied to 4 different grad school programs, got into all of those, and then applied to a couple other positions too, and got accepted to all of those as well. So for whatever reason, I guess he was on the pre-med track, but he decided that's not really what I wanted to do long term. And lucky for us, he became a district manager with Cutco. Was from there one of the fastest promoted divisional managers in the company. So divisional manager runs their own office, but they also oversee the whole entire area. So Jeff oversees the entire Florida, basically area, everything from Tallahassee down to Tampa to here to the islands of Puerto Rico as well. So, what happened was he took the metro area, and then in 2009, they asked him to take his talents down to South Florida, which at the time was one of the worst divisions across the company, and has since forth became one of the best, most prolific divisions across the entire company. So again, you are in good hands. Here's what you want to write down next to his name. You want to write this down, SLDM. Okay, SLDM. And that stands for Sales Leadership and Development Meeting. The reason I have you all write that down is because some of you might actually have the opportunity to attend that meeting this upcoming week. It just so happens that the last one of the entire year, he only runs a couple each year, is next week. And so some of you all in the room, just based on your energy, participation, things like that throughout training, will have the opportunity to go ahead and attend that, which will be pretty cool. Lucky for you all, Jeff is stationed in the Fort Lauderdale office. So for what that means for you guys is if you get a chance to meet him, it's like a 30, 45-minute drive away versus like everyone else is like taking flights and driving from like Tallahassee and Gainesville and like all across the rest of the state. So that's pretty cool. If you shake his hand, you'll pretty much make more money. So just keep that in mind, right? That's Jeff Gamboa. You guys already know me. Eric Palacio and Kirsten Casey. These are 2 of our branch managers. Like I said, a branch manager is a entrepreneurial internship opportunity with a company, which will go out and run their own office. So Kirsten started with us 2 years ago. She actually started in the Fort Lauderdale office, was an assistant manager there one summer, like doing like what Rob or Lauren does. And then the following summer, she's out and running her own office in Boca Raton, Florida. Eric Palacio actually started with us last summer. So he went to Columbus here. He's going into his senior year next year at Florida State. And Eric started with us one summer, got into our TLA training program, and then 1 year later is now running his own office up in call it the North Miami office / Pembroke Pines / area as well. So we'll actually get a chance to meet some of these people if you get an opportunity to attend our conference like SC2, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. You guys already know Eddie Los Cuevas. Our assistant managers, I'll introduce you guys to some of these as they come in. We've only got one in the office right now, but let me go ahead and introduce you to Rob Rodriguez. So Rob actually started with us. A lot of our assistant managers started with us last summer. Rob actually started with us in the fall. So I actually ran the Tallahassee office last fall and spring while I was finishing up my senior year there. And so Rob started with us in that office back like November, right? Yeah. December. When was it? Okay, cool, November. And Rob started off pretty slow on the job, not gonna lie, and he just really was just persistent, kept working at it. Was always brought a lot of energy. Was excited to learn. And, so for most of our assistant managers, they'd already been around training for a year to become, kind of get this position for the summer. But Rob got to link up with us in this spring and had the opportunity to train, and become an assistant manager now as one of the top assistant managers on our team. Really enjoy working with Rob. He's going into his sophomore year next year. And it's funny too, because I remember Rob, Rob graduated from Columbus. We always have like a ton of kids from his. We had like I don't know, 15 kids from his grade work here, and I think he got like 20 million calls from us because all of his friends kept recommending him for the job. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Not doing that. And then somehow, what did you come in from? Like a sign or a poster?
I saw an ad.
Yeah, saw an ad at school, came to the interview, walked in, he's like, oh man, it's Cutco. He was about to walk out, and then he sat down and interviewed. Who'd you interview with? Maddie, okay, cool. We got a chance to meet me and Eddie, and then from there, I was off the races. So it's been doing awesome ever since. So Rob, I guess if you want to get named school major, what do you like most, so far about your like Cutco through college experience, and then like top, 1 to 2 tips that you could give them for training or just for the job in general?
So my name's Rob. I'm a student over at Florida State. I'm studying psychology over there with the minor in business. Favorite thing about the job is how organized and responsive it's made me. I'm not saying I was a mess before, but it's definitely improved me a lot. And biggest tips is see your top people first. Don't wait for them at the very end. Definitely see them first, gonna boost up your confidence, and then just put a lot of food. It's gonna help you a lot too.
Cool. When you came into training, how many? By the way, what food would you recommend they cut up?
Some pineapples.
Pineapples.
Okay.
Pineapples. So those, I'll go over some other stuff you guys can cut up too in the appointments. How many names did you come into like the first day of training with?
Probably came like 30, 35.
Okay, cool. So you already came in with a solid amount, and then how many did you come in like the second day with?
Up to like 70.
Okay, cool. Do you feel like that helped you?
Yeah, definitely. The more names you have, the more you can keep calling. So it's gonna really help you out as well.
Cool, awesome. All right, let's give Robert a round of applause. And then I might as well. Is Amy still back there? I can just introduce her right now. Might as well. Amy, you available? Maybe not. Real quickly, I can bring her up in a second. She's working on something. All right, cool. All right, we'll bring up Amy real quickly. Amy's not one of our assistant managers, but she's one of our sales reps in the office. I guess we need to update this board. That was from last week's sales, but Amy, if you want to come on up. So Amy started with us. This is like your third week on the job or something? Cool, third week on the job. So how'd you hear about us, by the way?
Kat recommended me.
Okay, cool. So you're recommended by Robert Catala, which is I don't know, some of you guys might know him. He goes to University of Miami. So Amy started with us a couple of weeks ago as actually our top fast starter this summer. So she sold $26,000 in her first 10 days on the job. And is now actually going to be basically one of the top reps in her office for the summer and trying to win herself a scholarship. Is going into your junior or senior year? Junior year at University of Florida, and she's a microbiology major. So I guess Amy, if you want to give, I'll just kind of give it away. Name, school major. What do you like most so far about working here? You can start off with that. So we'll start off with that.
My name's Amy. I go to the University of Florida. I'm a microbiome major, and honestly, I really love like the competitive atmosphere and just how supportive everyone is, just pushing you to do better. Not just like in your sales, but like as a person. It's really nice.
Cool, awesome. Well, if you had to give them like your top, because you obviously opt a pretty solid fast start. In your first weekend, you're like super busy. She was at like a hotel for her. It was your sister's.
Yeah.
15?
So the first like 4 days of the fast start, I sold 4,000.
Yeah. Okay. And then all the rest of it was afterwards because you were in the hotel or whatever.
Yeah.
So what would be like, I guess for you, what would be like the top 1 or 2 tips that you'd give them for like just training or just for the job in general? Maybe for the first 10 days.
Well, just make as many phone calls as you can, book as many appointments as you can. Like, I remember like the day after SC1, I booked like 8 or 9 appointments the next day.
Okay.
So I was up since like 7 in the morning till like 11 p.m. just working. But it's worth it. You really want to reach 10K like your first 10 days.
Cool, awesome. And we'll give you guys some tips on that. She's talking about, you have this cool competition called your Fast Start, which is like your first 10 days on the job. So, it's okay. We haven't done it yet. But basically what she's saying is like you want to maximize your first 10 days too. Some of you guys got a lot of crazy schedules. So again, you have to kind of flex to whatever your schedule is. But anytime you can be doing it, you want to, push the envelope as big as you can for that first week or so on the job, depending what your availability is. Cool. And then what, I don't know, how many numbers did you come into the first day of training with?
35 or 40.
Cool. How many did you come in the second day with?
second day?
Yeah, do you
I
remember?
didn't come to the second training.
No, the second day of training. Like you gave me the first day and then the second day when you're booking up the rest of your appointments. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Probably like, I don't know, like 80 maybe.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, so do you think that helped probably with your first weekend?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's really important, like just getting as many people as you can.
Cool, awesome. All right, let's give Amy a round of applause. All right, Amy, let me know if you need anything. Are you hanging out for longer? Cool. All right, sounds good. Let's go ahead and do this. So here's the deal, by the way. I'm going to introduce you guys. You guys will get a chance to meet a lot more people on our team as training progresses. The reason I do that and why I have you like introduce so many people to you all, partially because I want to get how you guys get a chance to like meet the rest of the team and some of our managers and things like that. But also what you'll realize is like there's not. I mean, look around the room. I mean, all you have like different family backgrounds, different majors, different, career paths. There's not really like one personality type that does well here. We kind of have like a proven formula for success. All you got to do is follow the formula. In fact, I always think about it. From Eddie Summer, the number 2 sales rep in the office, I used her as an example, was hands down probably the most introverted, timid person I've ever met in my entire life. I mean, this girl was like 4'5", and she said like 3 words to me the entire summer. I mean, she like literally would just like nod her head and like give me like thumbs up signs and stuff like that too. Like I don't even know how she did appointments because she never talked. But she went out as the number 2 sales rep in her office that summer, and it just goes to show like it. Again, there's not one personality type that does well here. We got a proven formula for success. You just have to follow that formula. So guys, here's the deal. I want to be able to officially welcome you all to the team. If you haven't noticed by now, there's some of you guys were mentioning earlier, there's a different culture here than maybe some other places you've worked in the past. Other places you may have been like a paycheck or a number or like easily replaceable. Here that's different. Here you're part of the Miami Spartans team, and that's a big deal. We're a team. We operate as one, and we operate that way. So, and you guys know here on this team we have quarterbacks, we have running backs, we have kickers. We have, the guy that just holds the ball for the kicker. But regardless of what role you see yourself playing in this organization, I can promise you it's an important one. Like I said, we operate as a team. That's something you'll definitely like about the job. Now, I'll let you know too, okay, this is not any normal Cutco office. This is what's regarded as a pillar organization inside and outside of Cutco. So, on average, what that means is this is a top 10% of the company. On average, our representatives sell more, they earn more. We have more trophy winners, more scholarship winners. In fact, out of the top 50 sales reps in the country, our goal is to have 6 of those, so 6 scholarship winners alone this summer. Like I said, just to give you an idea too, like the actual numbers, I was mentioning it to a couple of you all earlier. When someone launches from this training, on average, they sell almost 5 times as much as the national average across the company. So when someone finishes this training class, in fact, we're actually recording some segments over. I got recording some things on my computer here, just because so many people are interested in learning like what we're doing differently in this training. And again, I don't say that to impress you, but just to give you guys some confidence that you're going to receive an awesome training this weekend. So now our goal for the summer is to do $1 million. Okay, I'll let you know a secret. That has never really been done ever before by an office open their first full year. Now, we have some people called CSPs, which are career sales professionals. So Taylor Max Ricard is one of the career sales professionals in our office. So he sells Cutco full-time professionally as a career. If you ever want to advance in our company, like there's kind of 2 tracks. You can go into management, like do something like Eddie or me, or you can go into like a full-time selling position. So the cool thing about, pretty much the lowest performing CSPs are selling about 200 access to, some of our fairs and shows programs. They can do like realtor orders and business gifts, and they make 50% of whatever they sell. So, they're making like $100K minimum, which is not too bad, but they have a lot. If you want to go to Europe or travel or sleep in, or you can do whatever you want. It's a pretty long story short, people that do this professionally, but it's pretty much any just new sales representative starting their first summer on the job. And so that's what we're excited about this summer. Like I said, we're excited to have each and every single one of you here. Here's what I'll mention too. Has anyone ever heard the saying, much of business is timing? Okay, it's true. So you're starting at one of the best times to start selling Cutco, okay? For a couple of different reasons. Number one, you know, if you think about like sports, like we have, you know, you have your preseason, your off season, and then you have your season. You know, for us in our world, like Cutco Summers, like summer is our season. We sell more in the months of May, June, July, and August than we do all year round. Now, don't get me wrong, we sell a lot in the fall and spring too. But I mean, July specifically is our hands down biggest month of the entire year. Anyone have any ideas why so many like people buy so much during the summertime, or why we sell so much during the summer? Yeah.
Summer barbecues a lot.
Yeah, guys. What holidays are going on during the summers?
4th of July.
4th of July, right? What's next week? What else happened during the summer? Memorial Day, Father's Day, Mother's Day. What is everyone doing on those holidays? Barbecuing, going out on the boat, cooking, eating, hanging with families, spending money. You know, so people just buy a whole lot more. Like most of the economy, like spending happens during the summertime. So it's easier to sell the stuff. Usually you all have more schedule availability. So it's easier to just navigate through the ups and downs and the learning curve when you have more time available, you know, versus if you're doing it full time in the fall and spring around all your classes. It's sometimes harder to get that learning curve out of the way. You know, not to mention too, by the way, you know, if you really kick butt, or, you know, for most of you all in the room, within 3 to 4 weeks, you'll all already be making 30%, right? So what's going to happen is you're going to have the rest of the month of July in August to really take advantage of that. You know, I think about people like Marcel Payen. He didn't even start with us. I mean, he sold about $35,000 for his first time on the job, but he didn't even start with us till like midway through July, or almost till just towards the end of July. So by the time he was making 30% commission level, I mean, he literally had like 1 week before he left for school, and he wasn't really able to take advantage of that too. So you guys are starting at a great time. Here's the other thing you want to put down in your notes, okay? It's called SC2, and that stands for Summer Conference 2. What that is Summer Conference 2 is basically our biggest, baddest event of the entire year. Eddie actually mentioned it a little bit earlier, but SC2 is a conference that we have in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, it takes place on, I believe, the 27th and 28th of July. The reason I had you all write that down is because some of you all will actually have the opportunity to get invited to that event. And I mean, if you get invited to that event, man, you're gonna have an awesome summer. You know, so think about just, I mean, you have the top career sales professionals, the top people in the entire company, inside and outside of Cutco, basically just come in and train you guys on personal development and how to increase pretty much everything in your business and also in your life. If you get invited to that conference, like I said, you're going to have an awesome summer here. But the reason I have you write that down is because some of you all will have the opportunity to get invited. So you are starting at a great time. Here's also what I'll mention too, okay? How many of you guys are high school juniors in here going into your senior year? I know there's a couple of y'all. Okay, cool. So you guys are starting at a great time, right? I remember that's when I actually originally started the job. Now, you know, when I started, like I said, it was I was like 17 as the youngest person in my training class, but I'm sure for a lot of the other people in the room, you know, that just graduated, they probably wish they could have had some like kind of like experience like this in the resume before they started applying for colleges and things like that. So hopefully it will help you out a little bit there. Who just graduated from high school? Okay, cool. And you're going into your college right now. Awesome. So I want to give you guys a congratulations to you all. Just finished up high school and now going into your freshman year of college. You know, my goal for you all is to just be like separated from your peers. And really kind of separate yourself. I think about like, you know, when you graduate, after one summer working with us, you're going to realize like your ability to work with other people, your leadership skills are really just going to be a lot higher than that of some of your peer group. And when you get into college, like you kind of just feel separated and elevated from a lot of the people that you know. I think back to people like, does anyone know David Gonzalez? I know a couple of your Blend guys graduated with them. Yeah. So Yep. So he's rowing. David Gonzalez was my number 3 rep, the same Eddie Summer, and he rows with Harvard. Or he went to a scholarship there or whatnot. So I remember he called me last year and or a year or 2 ago, and I remember it was like right after his freshman fall, and he was doing like some like pre-med like internship or something like that at his school or joining some club. And I remember he called me because you know, I guess they had their general body meetings and elections that they were running, and like you can run off the floor. So 2 people were running for president that day, and like I guess anyone could nominate themselves and run. And I guess the other 2 candidates weren't like that impressive. So he's like, hey, screw it, I'm gonna run. So he just raises his hand, right? And they call on him. He goes up there, gives like a 1-minute ad-lib speech, you know, on basically just talks about his experience here this whole entire summer, what he learned, the skills that he developed, and why he feels like that will help him bring something different to the table versus some of the other candidates. Long story short, ended up getting elected, you know, freshman year president of that society at a school. So, I'm not necessarily saying you'll have the exact same experience, but my goal is that, your level your ability to work with other people and leadership skills are going to be elevated to a very high level. Cool. What does she need? Can you? All right, cool. Tell her to give me like 30 minutes. Cool. And then who in here is already in college or like graduating soon? Okay, cool, awesome. For you all, my goal is that just when you graduate school, that you're one of the top of your graduating class. That your experience and your skill set here allows you to be a 5-star recruit, which is something I'll talk about here shortly in a second. So I want to go ahead and give you all some keys to success. I want to lay a quick foundation for training some expectations that you can have. Before we do that, let me go ahead and do this, okay? If everyone could take a quick second maybe to take out your phone, you should have received an email earlier, okay? It has some quick information about like training terms. You just put in your information about it. So put like your name and like where you're from. If everyone could do that for me for a second, and we will get started here shortly. We got to do that before we continue on with training. If you did not get that email, let me know because we probably had the wrong email on file for you. We don't have Wi-Fi right now. Well, we do have Wi-Fi, but it's reserved for people who are doing virtuals. So it might be slower, but see if you can use some service in here. If not, we'll get you set up here in a little bit too. So give me 1 second. So, all right, we're going to hop back into here, okay? So let me go ahead and leave off where I started. So here's what you can put down your notes, keys to success, okay? I want to lay a foundation for training and just some expectations that you can have. Before we kind of get started with that, here's the first thing. You're going to realize that this is not a normal team. Being recruited to this team is like if you played football, it's like being recruited to Ohio State or FSU or Alabama. If you play basketball, it's like getting recruited to like Duke or Carolina. So there are some expectations that we have of our leaders on this team. But first, I want to go over what you can expect of us, right? So here's the first thing you can put down. The first thing you can expect of us is 100% commitment to you and your success. 100% commitment to you and your success. It's real simple, guys. This is a sales organization. I'll let you know a secret. I don't have a salary. I have no hourly pay. I don't get paid to show up today. I don't have a guaranteed rate just to be here. So I get paid purely off of office performance, and that's how a lot of our managers get paid, too. So, what that means is that, like, we only succeed if who succeeds first? Us. Yeah, you all, right? So we only succeed to the level that you all succeed at. So number one, that means that we would never teach you something that doesn't work. And if we tell you not to do something, guess what? Yeah, don't do it, right? They probably know from personally making the mistakes themselves, multiple times over, right? Kind of what works and what doesn't work. So save yourself some pain and trouble. Probably trying to shorten your learning curve along the way and help you all too. So, and here's the deal. All you need to know is this, okay? You do not work for me. I work for all of you, right? Any good leader is a servant leader. And so it's my job, goal, and expectation to be able to help you all get the things that you want to achieve, right? So like I was talking to some of you all earlier, some of you guys are very excited to get a lot of awesome experience. Some of you all just really want to make a ton of money. That's cool too. Some of you guys were talking about advancing and things like that. But if I'm doing a good job at my job, right, I'm going to help you achieve whatever it is that you do want to achieve. So, that's my number one goal is, and you can expect 100% commitment to you. Second thing that you can expect from us is availability. Okay, availability. Right? Now, by the way, does anyone not have paper and pen or like a notebook for today too? It's cool if you don't. All right, cool. Yeah, he came in for interviews. Just grab him some like paper and like a clipboard or something like that. Cool. Oh no, you came like today. So availability. Okay. Now I'm not going to tell you we're going to be available 24/7, but I mean it's going to be pretty darn close. Like there is never any time too early or too late to call into the office. In fact, the largest order of last week was almost $4,000, and it was closed at like 12:30. Both times.
Probably like 11:30 on Saturday.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. It was like 11:30 by the time we were done. I was like past midnight, right? So with that said, guys, here's what you can put down in your notes. Something called coaching calls. Coaching calls. And a coaching call, basically what that is a 2 to 5 minute call following every single presentation that you do, right? So coaching calls are single-handedly the most important aspect of this job. Here's how it works. So, you give us a call. We can talk to you about like, hey, Adrian, walk me through like what went well, right? What do you feel good about, right? What did you run into any questions? Did you have any issues? Things like that too. And what that's going to help us do is it's going to help us drastically shorten your learning curve, right? Can we just like start walking around for that? Yeah. Cool. They already got it. Sweet. Okay, so what that's going to do is it's going to help us drastically shorten our learning curve. Guys, coaching calls are the most important part about the job. I don't care about the results. I know we're going to sell the knives, but like communication is probably one of the most important things about working here, right? So there's never any time too early or too late. Just know that, the second thing is availability, right? You guys will call in from your appointments. And by the way, we're not like always available 24/7, but we have a PDI line is what we call it. So it's one phone number that rings to all of our office managers. So it doesn't mean like they're always available, but there'll at least be someone, available pretty much at any time. I pay our assistant managers pretty well to make sure they pick up that phone whenever it rings. So the second thing is availability, okay? The third thing you could write down is open, honest communication, okay? Open and honest communication. Here's the deal, everyone. I'm a blunt guy. I don't sugarcoat things. I'm going to call the shots like I see them. I want it to be a two-way street, right? So do you all think at like sometime in your first week or so on the job, right, that you might have some questions or some concerns or maybe some apprehensions or feel a little bit overwhelmed? Yeah, for sure. Okay, that's definitely going to happen, right? In fact, if you don't feel that way at least once, like in your first 10 days in the job, you're probably just not like really doing much. You should get off your butt and do some more appointments is what that means, okay? But it's normal to feel that way at least once in your first couple weeks in the job. All I ask is that when you do feel that way, that like who's the first person you reach out to? Yeah, me or someone else in this management team. Because you know what? They've all been there. They've all done that. The only way they get into their position is by attaining a very high level of success at your position. So again, like they're here for you. Like they literally get paid just to help you all out. So, reach out to them that they're here to help. Cool. Here's the second thing. Okay. So it's a two-way street. You can talk to me about anything, good, bad, we're here for you. Cool. Here's what I want to go over, what we can expect of you all. Okay. So here's what we can expect of you. Number one, the first thing is positivity. Okay, positivity. We are hands down some of the most positive people you all have probably ever met in your entire lives. Okay, there's a lot of handshakes and high fives around here. Positivity is in fact so important to me that I just got a giant sign that's going to hang up in the back room that says, positivity only in this space, right? I know things happen, mom and dad's fights, girlfriends, boyfriends break up, dogs run away, flat tires, whatever, you name it, okay? All I ask is that, when those things do happen, that you can leave your problems at the door, right? And then when you come into this office, and this can be a place where, like, you can, not have to worry about the stress of the outside world, that you can come in, work hard, have fun, make friends, and not also stress everyone else out, with the things going on with you too. So now here's the most important thing that goes along with positivity, okay, or positive attitude, is positive expectations, okay? Positive expectations. So I know some of y'all are sports guys or girls, so this would definitely resonate with you. But when like Steph Curry or LeBron James goes for a shot, right? What do they expect to happen every single time?
It goes in.
Yeah, expect to make it in every single time they shoot, right? So by the same mentality, what should you expect to happen on every single presentation that you do?
Close.
Yeah, you should expect to sell something on every single appointment that you do. Now, is that always going to happen? Probably not, right? Now, I mean, it could, okay? I mean, if by the way, if you go out your first weekend and you sell like every single appointment that you do, I mean, don't be surprised. That happens sometimes. In fact, our office record is 48 appointments in a row out of training without having a no sale. So it took him like a month and a half on the job to get his first no sale. By the time he had his first no sale, we were like, about time, if that does happen, by the way, if you sell in every single appointment, don't be like totally surprised. That happens more often than you think. But, realistically, you probably won't sell, on every single presentation that you do. But what should your expectations be? Yeah, to sell, okay? In fact, if you don't think you're going to sell, guys, don't even bother going. Here's why, right? Expectation creates reality. So what you think will happen, generally speaking, whether it's positive or negative, is usually something similar to what ends up happening, okay? I found that everything in life happens twice, like once in here and then once in reality. So positive expectations, for success is really key, okay? That's the first thing. Second thing that you guys can write down is help others, okay? Help others. We are really big on that here. Okay, let me just make this really clear right now, right? This right here, this is the training manual. This is the job. Okay, there's extra pages in it, but it's really about 9 to 10 pages long. This, you read it word for word for really your first 10 to 20 appointments or so. Okay, it's not hard to sell Cutco. If you can read, you can sell Cutco. Okay, now for those of you guys that are like, oh my gosh, Andrew, I have to read. Don't worry, there's photos too. Okay, there's even parts that say like cut rope, smile, hand over neck. I mean, like there's like literally jokes written in there for you. It's like all there, okay? It's not hard to sell Cutco, like I said, guys. The question is not whether or not they're gonna buy, right? What is the question?
Whether or not you're gonna sell.
Yeah. So how much are they gonna buy, right? What set are they gonna get, right? Yeah, come on in. Cool. What's up, Juliana? Y'all introduce you. Want me to just introduce you right now?
Sure.
Cool, awesome. Let me introduce you guys to Juliana real quickly, okay? So Juliana just started with us, I don't know, like a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, awesome. So almost at, you already hit 30, right? Okay, cool, awesome. So over how much in sales so far since you started?
Just like over 10,000.
Okay, cool, just a little bit over $10,000. And she just graduated from Doral Academy and will be going to FIU next year. And currently one of our members of on our key staff. And trying to earn herself a promotion here pretty shortly. I guess, Julie, if you want to give name, school, major, what do you like so far about working here, and then top tip or two for them for like training or for the job in general.
So my name's Julie. I went to Doral Academy, graduated, going to FIU, majoring in international relations. I guess the best thing about this job is like how much you learn about yourself in terms of how professional you can be and like unlocking like all your potential. And just like adulting. You ever heard of adulting before? Pretty cool.
Cool, awesome.
Yeah.
What would be like your top tip for them for training or just for like their first weekend?
Definitely try and follow the manual. And for sure, just don't be afraid to call people you haven't talked to in a while. You'd be surprised how willing they will be to help you out. So
sweet, awesome. Did you experience like a lot of that your first weekend?
yeah.
Okay.
So I talked to a lot of third grade teachers, a lot of neighbors like 10 houses down, and yeah.
Cool, awesome. All right. And then are you just coming by to say hi, or are you coming by to just
Yeah, I have Ashley in the front.
Oh, you had some people that you recommended?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, awesome, cool. All right, let's give Julie a round of applause. Yeah, can I drop that off? Cool, awesome. All right, you're good to go. Actually, hold on to this until Friday. Next Friday, we'll bring it to me.
All right.
Cool, awesome. Sounds good. All right, we'll see you later. And you can hang out or go in the back if you need anything. If you need like rope with us.
1 second.
Cool. Awesome. You're good to go. So where was that? Right. Okay. Yeah, guys. Long story short, it's not hard to sell Cutco, right? Again, the question is not whether or not the customers are going to buy, right? So what is the question? Yeah, how much are they going to buy, right? What set makes sense? Like, do they love to cook and they can get everything? Do they hate cooking and literally just need something to get in and out of the kitchen, right? So it's going to be different for every customer, but pretty much everyone gets something. It's not hard to sell Cutco, not hard to sell a product that's been number one longer than anyone in this entire room has been alive, okay? What you'll find is the job is a lot more about just like working hard and just having fun than it really is anything else. So during training, we're gonna do something called role playing. And basically what role playing is a chance for you to like link up and pair up with another person, and you'll get a chance to kind of practice and walk through the presentation. So role playing will be one of the most important things we do throughout training, because everyone knows practice makes what? Perfect, right? The harder you work during practice, the better you perform during the game. So what's going to happen is you're going to actually go through this. It's going to improve your confidence a whole lot more. I'll tell you right now, guys, I was one of the youngest people in my training. I felt like the world's worst role player, but so super awkward while I was doing it. But like I said, as training progresses, you're going to have a lot more confidence. By the end of the day today, you'll be like, Andrew, screw the training. We got this. Let me get the knives, right? By the end of the day tomorrow, you'll be like burning rubber out of the parking lot to get to your first few training appointments. So plain and simple, a couple last things. Do what you say you're going to do. Some of y'all are still in high school. Some of y'all are about to graduate college. Bottom line, I'm going to treat you like an adult, right? So, be a man or a woman of your word. If you say you're going to do one thing, follow through with it. Do you guys think I care how many appointments you do on a weekly basis? Nope. Care less, right? Some of y'all are working here like super, super part-time, or some of you guys are like here for the whole summer. You're like trying to work as full-time as possible. You want a gun. You're like, want to go for a scholarship, want to make a ton of money this summer and dance. That's awesome. Some of you all, this is probably like the only job you could possibly work with how crazy your schedule is, and you're college athletes and taking classes and traveling too. So regardless of what end of that spectrum you are, all I care is that if you tell me you're going to do something, that you follow through with it. And you're a man or woman of your word. Like I said, it impresses me a whole lot more what people do outside of the walls of this office versus like what they tell me they're going to do, while they're in here and training and things like that too. So here's something else on that same note on help others I want to go over is the concept of active versus passive learning, right? So let me go ahead and write this on the board. So I'll write it in this blue, okay? So active versus passive learning, okay? So who can tell me what is passive learning?
Just sitting back and watching other people.
Yeah, sitting back, listening. What else? It's like, basically listening, taking notes. If you ever had a college lecture hall or been in church or something like that, it's like me, up here preaching at you all day. I mean, that's not really helpful. That's not the best version of learning. It's not helpful for you, not helpful for me. So what we want to do in this training is we want to focus on active learning, which who can tell me what that is? Engage. Yeah, what else? Yeah, it's also discussion based, right? So it's like questions, feedback, response, right? So throughout training, I'm going to ask like a whole lot of questions. So I might ask questions. I might say something like, hey guys, 2 + 2 equals 4, okay? 5, maybe some of you guys students, okay? So I want you guys to literally say the answer out loud, right? Here's why. There's 3 types of learning, right? The lowest level of learning is like when you hear something and like, you just kind of nod your head. It's usually what you do in like most classroom settings. You're like, all right, cool. The second higher level of learning is you hear something and you write it down, right? And the highest level of learning, you always have the opportunity to do this, but is you hear something, you write it down, and then you're also able to say it out loud, right? And so what that's going to do is it's going to help you develop some muscle memory. So who in here is an athlete? Who in here played sports, or currently does, right? Who can tell me what muscle memory is?
You do something over and over again so that it's second nature.
Yeah, so you do something over and over and over again so that doesn't matter what field you're on, doesn't matter who's about to hit you, if you're nervous, scared, whatever, like you just know how to do it, right? Your body knows how to react. And so that's the same thing we want you guys to have here is that level of confidence so that when you go to your first few appointments, you're responding back to me, you're saying all this stuff out loud. By the time you get to your first few appointments, you sit down, you're like, you can be nervous, but you're just going, I know all this stuff. Cool. And you're going to feel a lot better. You're going to have that muscle memory, muscle flow. So like I said, I will ask you all a lot of questions. Some of them will read rhetorical. They won't be like that rhetorical, but again, let's try that out one more time. So 2 + 2 = 4. Cool, and you guys get the idea right there, right? Like I said, so it's going to help you a lot more before you get into your first few training appointments. Last 2 keys I'll give you. Okay, number 4 was educate yourself. Okay, educate yourself. So, I'm the owner of this office, by the way. I could have decorated it with a lot of pretty artwork, but instead we decorated it with a bunch of stuff that help you do better at the job. So if you look around the office, you'll see like a lot of signs, things like that. You can probably see the words fast start a lot of places, okay? So here's what I want you to put down. Big and bold in your notes. I want you to write this down now. Fast start competition. The fast start competition. So the fast start competition, Amy kind of mentioned it earlier. It's a competition that we have for your first 10 days on the job. It's a chance for you to win $2,000 to $3,000 in cash and Cutco prizes on top of the income you're already making. This contest for most of you will be the single most baddest contest that you've probably ever participated in your entire lives. Okay, literally, if you're wearing socks tomorrow, I need you to bring an extra pair because I'm going to knock them off when I tell you guys about the fast start contest. Okay. Whether you're working part-time or full-time, let me give you guys my single biggest tip right now. Okay, you all ready for my single biggest tip? Okay, and that's just kind of what Amy was mentioning too, right? Here's my biggest tip: full-time, part-time, bust your butt your first 10 days in the job. Right? Work as hard as you can for your first 10 days on the job. Now, don't neglect your obligations, right? So like some of you guys got classes, things like that too. Like I'm not telling you to throw all that stuff out the window, okay? But anytime you can be doing an appointment, you want to be doing one, right? So Amy kind of mentioned it earlier, a lot of our people have gone for like a $10,000 fast start. So if you look up on that board, you probably recognize a lot of people you went to high school with and things like that. But that's basically whenever you sell $10,000 in your first 10 days on the job. Now, $10,000 in 10 days probably like sounds like a lot, when you first hear it. But think about it for a second. Realistically, it's about $1,000 a day, which who remembers our average order?
350.
350. So that's about how many orders?
3.
Yeah, like 3 orders. Okay, or it's like selling a set. So sets will be $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. It's like buying like a MacBook or like an appliance or basically anything else for the home, right? So all you literally have to do would be sell a set or run up 3 average orders. Right now, by a show of hands, okay, who in here, if you think you had the entire day to yourself, you could do as many appointments as you want, you could find a way to get 3 orders in. Cool. Probably most of you in the room, right? Now, so it's a lot more attainable and doable than you think. But here's the deal: a lot of people, by the way, shoot for that and fall a little bit short. Okay, it's pretty common for a lot of people to work hard and fall a little bit short. So let's say a world where you did work really hard. Here's the key, though, is that if you work really hard and you push yourself for your first 10 days, you're automatically, even if you don't make to $10,000, you're going to end up a little bit further than you would have if you wouldn't have worked this hard. And so now, even if you are working on a part-time schedule, you're still at a much higher commission level than you would have been like starting off. So let me give you guys kind of an example. Like let's say, I don't know, you sell, you try to shoot to first $10,000 in your first 10 days, and you sell $6,000. So you still do good, but don't come quite. You fall a little bit short, right? So if you did that, the consolation prize here, you still would have made $1,000 in your first 10 days in the job, right? And now you're making 25% commission level from that point forward. This is all from the interview, but we'll do a review a little bit later. So now let's say, hey, Andrew, I worked on my first 10 days. I'm just taking it really easy now. I got a bunch of classes and stuff like that. I got to focus on, whatever. So you're working really part-time. So let's say maybe you do, what's part-time in most jobs? How many hours? Yeah, 15 to 20, right? Sometimes a little bit more, but, let's say you worked, so let's say you did 10 appointments, or so for the whole week. So you worked for 2 days, it's 5 appointments each day, or you made 4 and like a 2. So let's say if you do 10 appointments, guys, how many are you going to sell on?
7.
Okay. If you do 10 appointments, how many are you going to sell on? Let's try again.
7.
Cool. I heard some people say 10. That's good. Positive expectations. You're going to sell a lot of Cutco this weekend. Okay. Now, let's be conservative, right? Let's say you only sell on, let's say you make, 7 sales. Okay. You make 7 sales. What's our average order?
350.
Okay. Let's say you only sold $300. That should give you a little wiggle room there. So you had 10 appointments. You made 7 sales. You sold about $300 on average on each one. And so your total sales for the week was $2,100. Okay. Now you worked hard, so you're making 25%, right? So you're not even making 30% yet, but if you make 25% off of that, your paycheck for the week would be 525. There's any math people outside, so $525. Which, I mean, for some of you guys, like I said, it's not really a big deal. For some of you all, that's like what you made like in a month at your other job before taxes, right? But regardless, the point is that like if you can work a really part-time schedule and still make decent income around what you're doing if you do work hard your first couple of days in the job. If you have more availability, do some math in your head, you can obviously do more appointments, multiply it out. But I'm just trying to give you guys an idea. Bottom line is you just want to work hard in your first 10 days because wherever you're at, you end up being a higher percentage. It shortens your learning curve because think about it this way, is it like if you're going into a cold pool, which for most of you guys is a cold pool because, for most people in the room, you've never done anything like this in the past, right? Is it easier to like kind of stick your toe in it slowly get in or just jump right in? Yeah, which one you come faster immersed to the water? Yeah, by just jumping in, right? So that's what I recommend for your first week or so. After that, if you want to take a step back and you work really part-time, you can totally do that. Or you can go the opposite end, whatever you want. So, like I said, guys, now everyone always asks me, how long does it actually take, Andrew, to sell $10,000? Really just depends on you. A lot of people do it your first 10 days in the job. Some people it takes a month. Some people it takes the entire summer long to sell their first $10,000. Other people do it shorter. I mean, you probably anyone ever heard of Blue Missions Group before? So I had a guy named Nico Prendes. He graduated from Columbus. So he finished training Saturday afternoon and left for a mission trip like Sunday afternoon. So he sold his first $10,000 like his first 24 hours on training. So that can happen too. Now, by the way, that's not like totally common. We get a couple of those people each and every single summer, but that's definitely like not the averages or the standard. But that can happen too, guys. Bottom line, you just want to work hard your first 10 days. It will help you out with the experience a lot. So last few things is, if you want to learn how to sell 10K in 10 days or do well, right here for you, read the walls. A more informed rep is always a better rep because the more informed you are, the more confident you are. The more confident you are, the more you're going to win. So, yeah, the more you're yourself pretty much every single time. So, take the assignment seriously and the role play seriously. And specifically, by the way, we're going to give you guys some assignments throughout training, okay? This is not high school, okay? These assignments are not for me. Who are they for? Us. Yeah, you all, okay? If you all don't put a lot of work and energy into them, like it's not really going to affect me. It's only going to affect you, okay? You don't have grades here, or you don't have report cards here. You have what? Paychecks, okay? Paychecks and sales results, okay? So, like I said, it impresses me a whole lot more what people do outside the office here. So the question you want to ask yourself is like, what if this training meant your entire life, right? What if this job was what set you up for financial stability for the rest of your college years or for the next 3 to 5 years of your life? How hard would you work? How committed would you be? How much time and energy would you pour into your assignments tonight? And I say that, but that's exactly what this training is designed to do. So for a lot of you all in the room, I realize that you're not going to be here forever. I don't even really know. Some guys might be here for a couple weeks before you start your summer classes. Some of you all will be here for the whole summer. Some of you guys will be here for a couple years throughout college. Some of you guys will be here for a career. I have literally no idea, okay? But my goal is not that you're just here with us for one summer, make a ton of money, and that's it. My goal is that, I hope that's what you get at the bare minimum. But my goal is that if you want to, that you can advance with the company, that, if it's something you're excited about, that you can move up and grow. My goal for anyone that wants to is that they could run their own branch office, right? Personally, in my belief, there's nothing else that an 18 to 24-year-old can do to impact the 5 to 10 years at a post-college graduation than run a branch office with Coco. My goal is that you're the most sought after students in your graduating class. And like I said, my objective is that this job can be a stepping stone to your dream job. Right? So maybe it gets you that connection or that interview you might have not otherwise gotten, or maybe it gets you, that standout experience that where everyone else that applying is for med school has the same, residencies and the same shadowing and the same internships. Like you have something that helps you stand out. And, so what if this was the rest of your life, right? I realize some of you all are only going to be here with us for one summer. Some of you all are longer, but here's my objective, okay? I have 2 things that I want everyone that walks into my office to achieve, right? And so here's the 2 things I want you to write down. The first thing that I want to make here is financial success, okay? Financial success. I want you to make so much money that you have to redefine what the concept of a large amount of money is to you, okay? The average college student makes $1,750 in a summer. A lot of my top college students make that their first week on the job. Some of that their first weekend, right? So I want you to make a lot of money for a couple of reasons. Number one, like I don't know about you all, right? Maybe it's different for some of you guys, but for me, when I went home, told mom, dad, a little bit skeptical about the night job, right? And to cut you guys some, cut you all some time, right? Cut, right? Okay. To save you all some time, my mom was skeptical and my dad was unsupportive, right? And so I remember, my mom gave me a super hard time. Okay. Do you think my mom ever made a sly comment to me ever again after I made like $500 my first weekend on the job? Nope, never said anything ever again. Okay. In fact, I think it was at that point in time where she decided my younger brother would also be working here. Okay, as soon as he was old enough and eligible. Okay. So and here's the deal, guys. It's just normal, by the way, for people to have that reaction. It's like it just kind of sounds weird at first too, and they haven't seen the product yet. So if that's you, I can definitely relate. But when you're making a lot of money and you're hitting your goals, we're hitting our goals. But I've got to break the mold with most of you. Okay, this is not your old job. You cannot treat this like your old job. Like who in here's had a job in the past? A lot of y'all in the room. Where have you worked in the past?
Sanford Law School.
Okay, cool. Like a job? Or
I was a counselor.
All right, cool. Awesome. You're a counselor there. Where's some other jobs that we've had too? Where do you work?
I was a campaign coordinator.
Okay, cool. Nice. What are some other jobs that we had?
I was the manager at my dad's car wash.
Okay, cool. Awesome. And what else?
I worked at Calvin Klein.
Okay, cool. Calvin Klein. So, most of the jobs are good examples. Most of y'all were paid like hourly probably, right? But it's Calvin Klein or maybe it's a little bit different because it's your dad's car wash. But I don't know. Let's say you're working at Calvin Klein, right? And you were like a sales rep there, like or sales clerk. Okay. So let's say it's Nicole, right? Okay, perfect. Let's say Nicole shows up one day and she wants to go to Calvin Klein. She wakes in the morning for whatever reason. She's like, you know what? Today I'm just gonna work my butt off. Right? I'm gonna show up early. I'm gonna leave late. I'm gonna like clean the whole store. I'm gonna refold all the clothes. I'm gonna be like the nicest person that anyone's ever met in their whole life, so that like everyone gets a smile on their 5-star reviews up for our store. I'm gonna go up. I'm gonna show and demonstrate leadership ability. I'm gonna run. If you did all that, at the end of the day, would you be paid any more money? No, right? Would you get a huge promotion? Probably not either. Okay. Here's the deal, guys. There in a lot of places, no one else cares. Okay. Here it's different. When you work harder, when you perform better, you make more money, right? When you develop and demonstrate leadership ability and a great attitude, like you get promoted, right? So like I said, guys, for the first time in most of your lives, you have the opportunity to determine how much your time is worth, right? Like I don't decide your paychecks, who does? Yeah, you all do, right? For the first time, for most of you at least, there's no ceiling, there's no cap to how much money you can be making. Guys, money is definitely not everything. They're just saying like, hey, money doesn't buy you happiness, but guess what? Neither does poverty, right? Okay. It's true, okay? I'm just being honest, but here's what money does give you. It gives you freedom, right? And it gives you freedom to pursue things that do make you happy. So whether that's just spending more time with family, whether that's taking that trip that you've always wanted to take, whether it's being able to pay for college yourself or save up for a car that you've always wanted, whatever the reason is, guys, it gives you freedom, and that is what I am passionate about. So that's the first thing, is financial success. The second thing that I want you all to know, and that's a lot more important to me at least, is meaningful work experience. Okay, meaningful work experience. So, now honest work is honest work, guys. I'm not here to bash, any of their jobs or internships or things like that. But let me tell you, do you all know what percentage of students walk into my office and they have had some sort or type of internship with like XYZ company or whatever connection that they had that got on this internship? They walk into my office and they think that helps them stand out and that's very impressive. Like almost every single person that walked into this office. And guys, I gotta be honest with you, like the majority of the time, it's not impressive. Okay. Internships, right? What are you actually doing?
Busy work.
Okay, busy work. What else? When here's like had an internship in the past.
I'm getting
Yeah. Okay, answer phone calls. I don't know, buying paperwork, getting coffee. Okay. Are you guys the majority of the time, right? Are you any high skills that are highly transferable to anywhere else? And just think about it this way: like, is a successful company going to put important decisions into the hands of an 18 or 19-year-old that are going to really affect their business? Probably not, okay? Don't get me wrong, guys. There are some things out there too, but, you know, here's the deal. Do you guys know what percentage today of students graduate from college with at least a 3.0 GPA, and they graduate with at least one form or type of internship experience on their resume? 65%, okay? Over 65% 3.0 GPA and some sort of type of internship experience. And you know, I don't say this that's scary or bad news, but the job market's tough nowadays, and it's not getting any better anytime soon, right? And that's because of the value of a college degree is at an all-time low, right? And it's getting lower every single year. Why is that? Yeah, it's called supply and demand, right? The more something you have, and guess what? More and more people are doing every year. Graduating from college, right? By the way, I'm not bashing college. I think it's pretty important. I would highly recommend going. Okay. Companies are looking for experience and skills and things that separate you apart. And unfortunately, just most students have that when you work common jobs, whether it be a babysitter, a bellman at a hotel, a barista, a delivery boy, a valet driver, nanny, a bartender. You know, so those things don't really stick out. Now, probably growing up, you guys, raise your hand, by the way, if you've heard something like this. You know, from whether it's mom, dad, your guidance counselor, something along the lines of, hey, go to school, get good grades, get an internship, and when you graduate college, you're going to have a lot of options. Who in here has heard something like that? Okay? Yeah. No, right? Now, why do your parents and teachers and guidance counselors, why do they probably all say those things? Why?
That's how it was for them back then.
Yeah, because 20 years ago, guys, if you went to college, you had good grades, and you had like internship or like a good work experience on your resume, like you were vastly set apart from that of the rest of your peer group, and you had a ton of options graduating college. And you know, it's from this release from I think it was over 70% of college students today graduate without a job offer out of school. That means you go to 4 years of school, pay for it, and you graduate without a job. Over half of college students move back home with mom and dad after they graduate college today. And, you know, like I said, guys, it's just because the job market's a lot more tough. So what I am passionate about is giving you guys real meaningful work experience, you know, experience like fine-tune people skills, right? Interpersonal communication, how to make a professional phone call. I'll tell you right, like, I mean, the amount of students that walk into my office that are like nervous to call a restaurant to book a reservation just because, you know, so many people have grown up texting, things like that. Like, that's a reality. So it's actually one of the most sought out skills that was listed by Fortune 500 companies for, you know, college students that are graduating today. Things like public speaking skills, the ability to build a relationship with someone quickly, the ability to manage your own time or make a the things that you guys, they're called soft skills, and the things that you'll learn while working here that I hope will not only add to your resume, but really set you apart from the rest of your peer group. You know, so I could have done a lot of other things than work with this company after I graduated. But one of the reasons I chose to do this is because I know what kind of opportunities it created for me when I was at a young age, and I love being able to give back those same opportunities to other people. You know, so that's definitely something I'm passionate about. Excited for you guys to learn the skills of selling. By the way, when I talk about selling, I'm talking about anything that has to do with like negotiating, getting your way, persuading, selling an idea, you know, product, whatever the case is, okay? Selling is pretty much a prerequisite for life. Now, I always have people that come into my office like, Andrew, I don't know if this whole sales thing is for me. I'm like, hey, maybe life's not for you. I'm kidding about that, okay? Maybe the secrets, okay? But let me make it straight. No matter what career or profession you want to go into or what you want to do with your life, like you need to have good sales skills. If you are going to be a doctor, right, you better be able to sell like your patients on why they should health of their entire family into your hands, right? If you know you want to go into real estate, obviously that's sales. If you want to get a promotion in your job, you better be able to sell your boss on why you're the right person for that job. If you want to be assistant manager last year, he's over out in LA doing some acting. Right? He wants to get an acting gig. Not only does he need to be a talented actor, but he also needs to be able to sell the director on why he's the right person for that role, right? And why not any of the other talented actors should get the role instead. So, you know, no matter what you're doing in life, you guys are going to be selling. You know, for most people, breathing, eating, exercising are not careers. You know, they're just fundamental requirements of living. And so it is with selling. So that's why I'm excited for you guys to be able to learn that this weekend and throughout while you work here. Now, We sell knives here, okay? Is everyone okay with that? Are you guys sure? Right? Because to be honest, like when I first started, I thought it was kind of weird, okay? And then I watched a show called The Office, and they sell paper, okay? And that's weird. So, you know, I was thinking to my mom, like, hey, if I'm going to sell something, I want to be selling something that like everyone like wants, everyone needs, everyone uses. And that really is the case with knives. I mean, it, quite frankly, doesn't matter like what culture, religion, creed you come from. Doesn't matter what country you live in. Doesn't matter if it's the year 1000, the year 3000, good economic times, bad economic times. Everyone in the world uses knives. There's probably very few times that you walk in your kitchen at home and you're like, oh, we don't have knives this week. Everyone was using spoons. Okay, you know, it's just not the case. So everyone in the world has and uses knives, and it will probably be the same way for the rest of the time until we can just magically cut up our food, you know, with our minds or something like that. Okay, so you know, and that's what we sell. Everyone okay with that? Cool, awesome. So let me give you guys some quick rules for the office. We'll do a review and we'll take a quick break here so you guys can use the restroom, get water if you need it. So quick rules for the office. Number 1, be on time. Okay, almost everyone here is on time today, but you know, 15 minutes early is on time. On time is late. If you're late, well, you know. Second thing, be dressed properly. So it doesn't mean you need to like wear a full suit every time you come in here, but you know, look sharp. One of the reasons our representatives in Miami sell a lot more on their appointments is because they dress up for them, so they just look nicer. Your customers can tell you take it seriously, right? Third thing, ask a lot of questions, right? So be engaged, ask questions. Do not ask any failure-seeking questions, however. Okay, what do most failure-seeking questions start with?
You can do it. Stuff.
Okay, yeah. So, well, what if, or you know, let's say, or okay. So if this happened, okay. If you have one of those questions, just want you to take it out and like throw it out of your mind, okay, or don't bring it up. But if you're the person, by the way, I always have like one person every summer that will be like, has all these crazy what if scenarios, right? If you're the type of person that's like, that's all you're thinking about the whole entire time you're going through training, like that's probably what will end up happening to you, right? All these like crazy what if scenarios when you got your first weekend. So like I said, guys, positive expectations is key, but if you do have questions, ask, you know, I like questions. If you have a one-on-one question though, like keep in mind, you and I care, but like no one else does. So save that for in between a break or after training or whatnot. Cool. So, but ask a lot of questions. Last 2 things, get to know your managers, pound for pound. We have one of the strongest management teams in the country. And the last thing is, you know, get to learn your materials, study your materials. You know, your report cards are your paychecks. So let's do a quick review of why we do what we do, and then we'll take a break, give you guys some manuals, and dive in for the day. Cool. So let's start off with this, right? Number 1, why do we sell in person and not in stores? Yeah.
More personal experience.
Okay, cool. So it's more of a personal experience for the customer. Yeah, Dimitri.
So you feel more comfortable. There's no like awkwardness between people.
Okay, so it's more comfortable for you and also for the customer, right? I'm sure you guys can imagine. It'd be you headed out.
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. We'll see you later. Go crush it. I'm sure y'all can imagine it would be kind of weird if people were like getting calls to their house and being like, "Hey, there's a nice young man driving through the neighborhood with like a bunch of knives in the back of his car. Like, can he stop by your house?" Okay. So that might be a little bit strange. So number 1, it's more comfortable the customer and you. You're gonna add something.
Yeah, if you just see this like on a shelf, like at Target or something, and you don't know like how much of a high quality product it is.
Yeah, it just looks like anything else, right? You're like, oh yeah, it's probably not great. You're always gonna go for the cheapest option. Also,
but when you see it cut through a penny, it's like,
you're like, okay, there you go. Yeah. Also, what happens to the price of our product each step it takes going from like the factory, distributor, retailer, store? Yeah. What happens? Yeah, like doubles, literally almost every time. I run like the other company that runs like a men's fashion jewelry website, and every single time someone puts their hands on a product, I mean like 200, 300% increase every time a middleman is added. So it's a lot cheaper for the customer and more of a better experience. Here's the other thing too to keep in mind. You know, it's a little bit more of a personal experience. Like it's real customer service, right? So when you leave, you're not saying, "Hey, Miss Jones, by the way, here's a 1-800 number. Call it if you have any questions." You're saying, "Hey, Miss Jones, here's my personal phone number. Call me if you need anything," right? And so it's better for the customer, and that's also why you get customers that call you back like in November around Thanksgiving, and you get all these Christmas orders, and they call you for like, you know, wedding gifts and Christmas presents and things like that in the fall when you're not even doing any appointments, right? So, you know, it's just real customer service and a better experience overall for you and for the customer, right? Now here's the next question, right? Next review. Why do our representatives set up their own appointments and not like, you know, a telemarketer for you?
so they know who they're speaking with firsthand.
Yeah, so you know who they're speaking with firsthand. Like, so that goes back to actually the original example I just gave. You know, about calling people. What else?
More professional.
Okay, cool. So it's more professional, yeah, you actually get a chance to talk to who you're talking to. They know who they're seeing too. Like you have to realize it's always coming from a friend of a friend of a friend. So like when they recommend you to someone, they're not recommending Cutco or the company or whatever. They're like, hey, this nice young man or woman was just over my house doing a presentation. You know, it's really cool stuff. You don't have to get anything. They get credit just to show it to you. But you know, they're super awesome. See if you can set up a time to meet with them. And then when you call, you're like, hey, Miss Jones, like I'm a friend of Miss Susie's. I'm not sure if you get a heads up. And she's like, oh yeah, like Miss Susie told me about it. Like when do you want to come over? You know, when's a good time? So it's like they're referring like a friend versus just like some random company to come out to your house or something like that too. You had another one?
No, that was just.
All right, sweet. Let's see. Any other reasons why representatives set up their own appointments? What does it mean for you all?
Flexible schedules.
Flexible schedules, cool, right? So like if you had like your little sister's dance recital Thursday morning, right? At another job, what would you need to do like 2 weeks ahead of time?
Call advance.
Yeah, you need to call in advance, like, hey, I gotta get off this day. I need to take it off, right? If you have your little sister's dance recital Thursday morning here at this job, guess what?
It's okay.
Yeah, just don't schedule any dang appointments during your little sister's dance recital. Okay, that's all you have to do. Now, doesn't mean you work whenever the heck you feel like it, but does mean you have a good flexible schedule that you can easily, plan and prioritize around other things that you have going on. So that's cool too. You have a flexible schedule, just more comfortable for you guys. Here's also something I haven't heard so far. You have the power to choose who you want to go see. So when I was in high school, I remember reading an article from Forbes magazine. It was about the 5 highest paying professions. First 2 were entertainment and athletics, and I was like, well, I'm not sure if that's gonna work out for me. So the next 3rd one was sales. And I knew I wanted to do something like in the business world or something like sales. I don't really know, but I knew I didn't want to do retail, right? Because like here's the deal with retail. Like, the most amount of hustle you can put into retail is like I sit at the front of the store over here, the other person sits at the other front of the store. So a customer walks in and they both make like eye contact with each other, and it's like the first person to run over to them, right? That's about as much hustle as you can put into like the retail sales job, and oftentimes you're not even getting paid for it too. Okay, so here you have the power to choose who you want to go see. So like if you only want to see people that live in a certain part of town, you can do that. If you only want to see people that drive a really nice car or live in a really big house, you can do that too. If you only want to see people that do like a certain type of profession, you can do that as well. Like I had a girl named Analia Tamarita. She graduated from LaSalle and is over at, who's going to USC? You're going to USC, right? She's over at USC right now. She's about to finish up her senior year. She's studying acting out there. So, when she was using this job, she's one of my top sales reps that summer. She was using it as a networking experience. So whenever she would get recommendations, what she would do is she'd ask the customer, like, oh, by the way, Ms. Jones, like, who do you know that like is like in the acting industry or like is a director or something along that field? And she ended up seeing like some of the top directors and actors all across the Miami area that entire summer. It's actually how she ended up locking down the job or gig that she got the following summer out in LA, which is pretty cool too. So you guys have that opportunity too. So if you only want to see people that like are all doctors, you can do that. If you only want to see people in like the finance industry, you can do that too. So cool networking opportunity for like whatever you want to study or just whoever you want to see. But you have the power to choose who you want to go see. And then the last review before we take a break, right? Why do we start off with people that we know?
Get comfortable.
Get comfortable, right?
Practice.
Ice practice.
Yeah, you get comfortable, get some confidence along the way. If you make a mistake, which, by the way, you guys think you might make some mistakes your first few points?
Yeah.
For sure, okay. Which, by the way, doesn't matter. All that matters is that you learn from those mistakes. That's why we have our coaching calls, because, like, the worst thing you can do is, like, just keep making the same mistake over and over and over again, which is why we want to help you out. But, if you make a mistake, it's not a big deal. You just learn before you start seeing people you don't know. What else? What are some other reasons why we start off with people that we know? Okay, less pressure, right? It's easier, just like less pressure on you, less pressure on them, right? It's also probably easier to make a couple what? Yeah, making your first couple sales. Here's the deal. They're more apt to help you out, right, when you're getting started. So even if you are a little bit rough around the edges before you're getting started, they're more apt to help you out. So in 2 ways. Number one, with your just initial sales, like think about it. If you were selling Girl Scout cookies, would mom and dad get some? Yeah, would grandma and grandpa maybe get some? Maybe the cool neighbors that love you guys across the street? Yeah, probably, okay. So it's the same way here. So by the way, if you go out and you're selling on every single appointment, Eddie has a saying, your first few appointments are not for practice, they're for confidence, right? Or, they're, so they're not for comfort, they're for confidence. So when you go out, by the way, and you're selling on all the first few presentations that you're doing, guess what's going to keep happening when you start seeing people that you don't know at all? You're going to keep what? Keep selling, okay, cool. And here's the other thing too, is even if you don't make a sale, right? They're more apt to help you out. What are you going to be getting from the customer on every presentation that you do? Okay, so yeah, you get money, but recommendations, right? Okay, so recommendations. So you'll get those even if you don't make a sale on pretty much every appointment that you're doing. Now, the national average is about 5 to 10 recommendations per appointment. Our average in this office is about 10 to 20 recommendations per appointment that you do, right? Like Amy just came back from one, she said she got 30 recommendations. So there's a couple things that we're really good at teaching in this office. One of them is getting a lot of recommendations, okay? So if you do it the way we teach you, you'll average like 10 to 20 recommendations. If you do it your own way, maybe you'll get like 3 to 5. If you do it a combination of like my way, your way, you'll be somewhere between like 5 to 10, okay? So by the way, just to review the averages, how was our average order? 350, right? Closing ratio is what?
7.
Okay, which just means on average, if you show Coco to 10 people, 7 would purchase. 7 out of 10, by the way, is the Miami average. 60% is the national average. And then 5 to 10 or now, here's a question I'm gonna ask you guys, okay? Do you all think that I would spend 2 days of your time and my time training you all on how to be average? No. Okay, cool. Absolutely not. So is it okay if I train you guys how to be above average and do really well? Awesome. Cool, because that's what we're going to do this weekend, right? What we'll go ahead and do is let's do this. We're going to take a quick break, all right? I'm going to give you guys manuals as soon as we come back. I'll run you guys through the schedule for today and tomorrow. If you need to use the restroom, it's right outside. There's water fountain to actually push the door. So you guys always mess that up. And then during this break, okay, I need everyone to go ahead and fill out that app. So if you have trouble getting a service, make sure you talk to me. If you didn't get the email, make sure you let me know. If you need to step outside, get some service real quickly, make sure you fill that out. And we'll go ahead and get started here in a few minutes.
Yeah, hell, I know how it is. You're holding on, getting home.
Well, it's all of the main breaks and stuff like that sometimes, but if you need to you can like snack on talking. Yeah, we won't have any big breaks. We got today. Get out of here early. You can eat right now if you want. We'll have like 10 minutes or so. We'll take it down. Yeah, if you walk outside, we can come outside.
So I cannot get service.
Yeah,
No
maybe
one. Very healthy.
Let me make sure I have the right email for you, and then you can go outside.